Welcome to Cricket Life. Today I, Dr. Rishabh Sablok, will provide you with some advice on how to become better at bowling in cricket. So let's start by looking at some professional bowlers. Here is a video of South African fast-seam bowler Dale Steyn's bowling in the match between West Indies and South Africa. Let's play the video again to get a better understanding of it. It might look confusing at first, but don't worry, I'll slow the video down by 8 times and I'll break apart the bowling to see what goes into a perfect bowling. In my breakdown there are going to be 3 parts and each of them would be equally important. Here's the slow motion video so that we can see the athletes more closely and analyze their movements to get a better understanding of the bowling action. The first step of perfect bowling would be the preparation phase. In the preparation phase, I would like to point out the amount of distance these athletes run. Athletes start at about 10 to 15 strikes before leaving the ball to gain sufficient speed. In the last 3 to 4 slides, athletes really start gaining speed and travel the fastest. The running mechanism can be explained quite simply by Newton's third law. Newton's third law of motion states that every action has an equal and opposite reaction. This means that if we apply a force of 100 newtons on the ground, it would exert the same force back at us. So this is how running works. Now, going back to the use of the run-up. Newton's second law of motion states that when a force is applied, then there will be an acceleration inversely proportional to the mass. So therefore, our body with the ball both will accelerate. And we need that acceleration because increasing the acceleration would mean that there would be a higher velocity achieved by the ball during the execution phase. This means that the ball would move faster and would be harder for the batsman to face. Now let's talk about the grip of the bowler. There are many different types of a grip that a bowler can use. Each grip corresponds to a different ball type. In general, to gain the highest angular momentum or spin, one must place their fingers at the end of the ball. In addition to that, in seam bowling, which is the one shown in the video, one must hold the ball like this. So you can see that the seam is placed between the 2 fingers and the thumb is under the seam to provide support. Ideally, there should be a gap of 1 finger between the ball and the palm. This makes it easier for the ball to roll out of the hand. If you hold it too hard, then there will be too much friction between the hand and the ball, and this would reduce the spin of the ball. And if you hold it too loose, then the amount of control on the ball would decrease. Another part to be noted would be that when the wrist is back and loaded. This would later help in the execution phase, where the extension of this wrist would generate a little more power. As you can see, Dale's shoulder and hips are both aligned and he is focused on his target. Aligning the wrist and hips would increase Dale's accuracy. Also, if you notice, Dale's legs are very far apart and his knees are bent. This position allows for a lot of stability, as the center of mass is lowest and the base of support gets wider. Having stability in the preparation phase means that it is easier for Dale to hit his intended target. Finally, coming to the main point of the preparation phase, circumduction. Circumduction in easier terminology is rotation. The bowler needs to start the rotation because to gain some angular momentum. This angular momentum could be later converted into linear momentum, which would further increase the speed of the ball. So moving on to the next phase, the execution phase. Firstly, as you can see, Dale's head is upright and his eyes are on his target. This is very important because it helps increase the accuracy. Now moving on to the rotations of the joints to provide all the momentum and speed to the ball. We can see that Dale starts by using his largest muscles first. He starts by rotating his shoulder, then moves on to straightening the arm from the hyperflex position, and then to rotation of his wrist, and finally to the rotation of his fingers. This sequencing of joint rotation from the largest to the smallest provides the ball with the maximum velocity. So, to improve your bowling skills, you must practice the rotation of all these joints, and that too in order. Moving on to the next point, that as you can see, the leg has to handle the impulse of the run-up and therefore it must be stable position. This stability will allow for passing of all the momentum of the body to the ball. Furthermore, to increase the speed of the ball, arching your back would be helpful as you could get closer to the batsman and provides just a little more time that the ball experiences force, which again enhances the speed of the ball and provides a much more accurate ball. The main element of the execution phase would be releasing the ball at an angle of 30 degrees. Releasing the ball at this point would maximize the speed of the ball. Bowling at a higher angle would make the ball bounce too early, while bowling at a lower angle would make the ball go too high and might be a foul. Now moving on to the final phase, the follow-through. Dale completes the rotation of his arm so that his shoulder does not get a huge shock. If the arm stops rotating too soon, the shock might cause injuries and therefore reduce performance. Dale's body is also directed towards the target so that the accuracy is not reduced. He is falling front and bending down while keeping his leg apart. Again, as you know, lowering the center of mass and increasing the base of support both would contribute to an increased stability. This stability will now also help in the proper movement and save the person from falling due to the huge momentum that he was carrying before. Dale's non-bowling arm swings along with his bowling arm to provide additional stability, whereas the bowling arm should follow through the outside of the opposite side thigh. This will ensure that the body is stable and that the shoulder muscles do not take too much tension. This is very important to make sure that no injuries occur during the bowling and ensures that the bowler can bowl for the remainder of his bowling period. Another key part to note is that the time that Dale took to stop running. He started slowing down once his bowling arm touched the body, and took lots of time to slow down and eventually stop. As a general rule, one must run at least 1/3 of the pitch before coming to a stop to avoid injuries due to sudden force that could act on the player if he stops suddenly. As you already know, Newton's third law states that every action is an equal and opposite reaction. If he stopped too suddenly, there would be a buildup of pressure on the knee and the leg and would cause serious damage to them. This is the final part of the bowling action. It was easy, right? Now that we know what goes into good bowling, we can try to find out the errors made by beginners and try to help them improvise. So let's meet our first beginner, Sanjeev Sablok. Welcome to Cricket Live, Sanjeev. Could you please show us a demonstration of a fast seam ball? Okay, Sanjeev, that was a nice first start. Now if you don't mind, I would like to play a video in slow motion and try to break apart your bowling to find some errors in it and help you improvise on those. There are a few errors, but today we will correct some of the main ones. Firstly, during the execution phase, you left the ball too late or at an angle of 40 to 50 degrees. At this angle, the body will not be able to direct all the force to the ball. The ball would bounce too high and this would be very slow. Let me show you what I mean. Sometimes at this angle, you might hit the batsman and this might be considered as a foul. If it's a foul, the ball goes higher than the batsman's shoulder, and if that happens, they get a free hit. A free hit is a great disadvantage for your team and can get the opponent extra runs without the fear of losing a wicket. Another minute error you are doing might not only affect the game, but may also hurt you. It is the time that you take to stop running in the follow-through phase. You stop too soon after releasing the ball. This sudden braking that you do may cause lots of injuries in the knee and leg. Because if you stop suddenly, there will be an equal and opposite force to your leg. Now, that being said, let's give you some tips on how to improve both the accuracy and the speed of your bowling. Now, if you want to increase the accuracy and speed of the bowling, the first thing that you have to do is to change the angle of your throw to 30 degrees. This angle would give the ball the perfect bounce that is required and would cause all the momentum of the body to go into the right direction. Now Sanjeev, can you ball another 5 or 6 times, but this time remember to release the ball at an angle of 30 degrees. Using distance as a parameter of speed, we were going to try to find out the increase in speed caused by leaving the ball at the right angle. Very nice. As you can see, you're getting very close to the optimum 30-degree angle. Now looking at the distance, when you were throwing the ball at 50-degree angle, the ball only used to go 10 meters. But now, as you can see, the ball is traveling in an average of 15 meters. This means that you have increased the speed of your ball by 50%. Very nice, Sanjeev, and keep up the good work. If you keep practicing like this, you will surely improve your bowling skills. See Sanjeev, with the proper biomechanical analysis of your movement, we were able to see a drastic improvement in your bowling. That's it for today. Meet you in the next episode of Cricket Live on Sports Hub. Thank you.